Hey guys, Pat here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I wanted to show you a problem that I experienced with my little, it's the 8 horsepower Briggs and Stratton motor. I went to start it and I assembled everything. I've already diagnosed the problem. But you go to pull it and the starter doesn't engage the motor in order to turn over the engine. I'm going to go ahead and take you through the process of troubleshooting this and kind of show you what's inside, the guts of it. This 8 horsepower Briggs and Stratton motor is on a 8RT snapper rototiller, rear tine rototiller. Kind of a neat old rototiller. There's a story behind it. I got it for free. Anyway, I'll go ahead and take this apart and show you what I came up with. Okay, the first thing I wanted to do is go ahead and remove this 5/16 inch sheet metal screw that holds the dipstick in place here. It keeps it from rattling around. I went ahead and removed the 5/16 inch machine screw from that. Next I remove 4 7/16 inch sheet metal screws from this side of the shroud, and there's also 2 more on the other side of the shroud here. So I removed 4 of these 7/16 inch sheet metal screws. Then I removed the shroud here, the casing. And as you can see, the starter actually goes over top of this square drive unit here. And see, the problem is this should not be turning free. It should turn free one way but not the other. A 1/4 inch drive, and remove 4 of these machine screws and try not to lose them. Off of this little cover. All this cover does here is keeps this casing in place, and also is a shield to help protect your fingers. Keep your fingers out of there. And then this little cap comes off of here, and it exposes this seal here, and as you can see, it's kind of gummed up. I actually removed a couple of these little ball bearings because if I wouldn't have, I couldn't have made the demonstration. I couldn't have made that demonstration with pulling the starter cord, because it would actually engage this. So it was acting intermittently. So now taking a closer look at these little ball bearings here, as you can see, they're hung up on the side of the casing here, and they're supposed to drop back in there after the machine gets going again. So I need to take these out of here and clean this up and reassemble it. That's the only problem with the starter here, is I need to clean it up. Rust has gotten in here and has gotten the better of these little bearings, so I'm going to clean this up and lubricate it real well. Actually, this little centerpiece comes out, and that's just a square key that actually catches the starter when you pull the starter. So I'll take, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bearings total. Now I'll go clean these up. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet. But then I'm also going to clean this out in here so I could get all this assembled again and it won't get sticky. So I'm just taking and cleaning this up with WD-40 or any kind of solvent you can get in there and clean that out is a good idea. That actually looks like that should seal, but apparently there's been water penetration in here. realistically I should get new bearings for it. But if I can get it to run and operate without having to buy bearings for it, I'm going to do that. That didn't take much to wash that out. I'll get a little brush in here and kind of finish cleaning this out. Okay, here we are in the shop. I've taken all of these little steel bearings here and soaked them in PB Blaster. And then what I've done is I've taken one at a time out and I've rolled them on this little piece of emery cloth with my finger and just basically crushed any standing rust off of the bearing itself, off the ball bearing itself. So I guess in essence you can say that I'm lightly sanding it, but overall basically I'm just rolling the bearing around on my finger here and just crushing any high spots off of the ball bearings themselves. So you could probably use any solvent. I just grabbed PB Blaster because it was handy, and it works good for getting rid of rust and such. So each one of these bearings here, I probably should be wearing gloves. So don't do what I do, or always wear gloves when you're doing this. Most of the time I'll wear gloves when it comes to messing with solvents and stuff like that, or washing things in gasoline or whatever. To each their own. This is just what I'm doing, and it's up to you to do your own research and figure out what's safest and best for you to do. But this just might give you some ideas on how you might be able to clean these little bearings up here. So they'll roll freely in that little cup. Basically, I'm just washing these off and knocking any of the rust that might have accumulated on the ball bearings. As you can see, they were stuck up on the high end of that little cup there. I'm sure there's a technical name for that little cup that these bearings rest in. Okay, that cleaned those up pretty good. Now I can polish them, but I'm not going to do that. I think they're just going to get messed up again anyways. I think what I'll do also is maybe put some RTV around that seal. Okay, I didn't want to bore you with all of the details of cleaning this out, but basically I was able to clean everything out with just some silicone spray, and I'm hoping the silicone itself is actually going to penetrate into the metal a little bit and kind of keep it from oxidizing or corroding. I didn't have a whole lot of issues with rust or any real decay, but when you clean this up, there's a little felt washer that goes inside this hole here. And incidentally, I took air and I was blowing this thing out and I had to look all over the yard to find it. It was a miracle I actually found it. So I cleaned everything up and I go ahead and put this on this shaft right here. That'll push that little felt donut or little felt plug up into here. I'm not sure, but maybe that's just a breather hole, or maybe I'm supposed to lubricate that every now and then. I'm not really sure. I just cleaned this up with a little nylon brush. If you have to get a little more aggressive with something like that, you might consider getting a little steel brush, a little stainless brush or something like that, and clean this up. But I was able to get into all these crevices and clean them up real well. So what I'll do is I'll put this on first, and then each one of these bearings will go into each one of these slots. Now I'm going to carefully put a little bit of this silicone spray in here, just to lightly coat the inside of this. and hopefully that will keep the corrosion down for a time. And then I'm going to take a little bit of gasket sealer. I mean, it looks like that should seal, but apparently it isn't. So I'm just going to put a little additional gasket sealer on here if I can. Well, and of course my little lid here was cracked when I went to open this up, and so incidentally it was solid or set up down into here into the neck, so I had to poke a hole in it with a nail. So I'm just going to lightly run around the perimeter of this, give that just a little bit of, I don't want to get it, of course I don't want to get it in there to where it's going to hang up on the bearing, so I want to make it real thin. Okay, you remember I put that little felt plug back in there. And I think, well, I'll just go ahead and just give that a little tiny squirt. Let that sink into that hole. Then I'll put this on. Now, if you really want to get crazy, you can put some anti-seize on these machine screws. I'm not going to do that. It's a good idea, though. Quarter-inch drive. Reassemble the shroud, the starter shroud. Sometimes you got to move that around to where you can have a square post there to line up. Well, hopefully it's going to work. I just run those in hand tight first so I can line up all my holes. Here's the serial number if you guys are ever wondering where the serial number is for your engine. If you ever need to look something up, if you didn't have an owner's manual. Again, I got this thing used, so it didn't have an owner's manual or anything with it. But on the side here, there's this long number, and that's the serial number. So you can find out what model number. Matter of fact, I got online and I found the manual for this and downloaded it. I just tighten those up. Now don't ask me what the torque value is on those. It was about that much. And so again, these were the 7/16 here. There's 4 of those. And then there's one 5/16 holding the oil fill neck here in place and keeps it from rattling around, and that holds it against the shroud. As you can see, the starter rope's engaging and disengaging like it should, and that's what our target was today. It's been sitting all winter. I've had it covered up a little bit. It's a good idea to start these every now and then, maybe once a month in the winter time. And I might have to run the gas out. There's a little sediment bowl in here. I can take and remove the gas out of that, see what it looks like. But it does fire, as you can see. hope that helps somebody out, just in case your starter cord pulls and it doesn't want to start the motor. That was a pretty simple fix, didn't cost anything, a little bit of time. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. Take care and God bless.